The late afternoon sun bathed the streets of Seoul in golden hues. Crowds had already gathered near a popular cafe where BTS members were rumored to appear. Whenever whispers spread that Jungkook and Taehyung might be seen together in public, armies poured into the location with cameras, banners, and eager anticipation. For years, Jungkook had been known as the Golden Magne, the youngest member with an almost flawless reputation. His smile, his discipline, and his love for fans had crafted an image of calm perfection. But behind every polished performance and polite bow, there was also a young man carrying the immense weight of fame. That day seemed no different at first. Jungkook and Taehyung arrived quietly, dressed casually yet stylishly, their presence almost impossible to conceal even when they tried to blend in. Fans screamed, phones shot into the air, and whispers rushed through the crowd like wildfire. Taehyung, with his signature effortless charm, offered a small wave. His deep voice greeted a few fans softly. "Thank you for waiting, please take care of yourselves." Jungkook, on the other hand, kept his head low. His baseball cap shadowed his eyes, his jaw tense. Observers noticed it immediately. Something in his demeanor felt different. Unlike his usual calm or shy smile, there was an edge to the way he walked, his steps heavy, almost impatient. Inside the cafe, the boys tried to relax. They had been in the middle of an exhausting schedule, recordings, brand deals, and rehearsals stacked endlessly. But the presence of cameras outside and whispers following their every move made it impossible for them to enjoy even the simplest coffee break. Taehyung leaned closer to Jungkook, attempting to lighten the mood. "Let's just enjoy this moment. Don't think too much," he said gently, tapping his friend's shoulder. Jungkook nodded faintly, but his silence spoke volumes. Something was building beneath the surface, something even Taehyung could sense. Little did anyone know, this seemingly ordinary outing would turn into one of the most talked about moments in BTS history, a moment when Jungkook's calm exterior shattered and Taehyung's reaction stunned not only the fans, but the entire industry. The calm was about to break. The cafe should have been a safe haven, a brief escape from the flashing lights and endless schedules. Yet, even behind glass windows, Jungkook could feel the weight of dozens of eyes on him. The muffled sound of fans chattering outside seeped through the walls, and with every passing second, the air seemed heavier. For years, Jungkook had mastered the art of patience. He had learned to smile when tired, bow when frustrated, and wave even when all he wanted was a moment of silence. He had trained himself to suppress the sighs, the frowns, the anger that might spill out. After all, idols were expected to be perfect, robots of joy who never cracked under pressure. But everyone has a breaking point. It started with something small. A group of fans pressed their faces against the window, their phones clicking nonstop. One shouted his name, her voice piercing through the muffled glass. "Jungkook, look here. Please, just one smile." Another chimed in. "Why are you ignoring us? Are you angry?" Jungkook stiffened. His hand tightened around the coffee cup, knuckles whitening. Taehyung noticed instantly. He leaned closer, whispering under his breath, "Breathe, Jungkook. Don't let it get to you." But Jungkook's patience was fraying. The voices grew louder, more demanding. Even inside the cafe, staff members were glancing nervously at the growing crowd outside. Cameras flashed continuously, their light bouncing off the glass like lightning strikes. Finally, when one fan outside screamed something personal, a remark that cut deeper than anyone realized, Jungkook's composure snapped. He pushed his chair back abruptly, the scrape of wood against tile sharp enough to make heads turn inside the cafe. Standing tall, he marched toward the window, his chest rising and falling with rapid breaths. For the first time in years, the Golden Magne's mask slipped. His voice cut through the chaos, firm and raw. "Stop it. Please. Do you think we're not human? Do you think we can live every second with cameras in our faces?" Gasps erupted from fans inside and outside the cafe. This wasn't the shy, polite Jungkook they knew. This was a young man cornered, exhausted, and finally speaking his truth in public. "Do you know how suffocating this is?" he continued, his voice trembling between anger and desperation. "We give everything on stage, but can't we have even one moment of peace?" Silence fell. The crowd outside froze, their cheers replaced by stunned disbelief. Cameras were still rolling, recording every second, but even the most obsessive fan couldn't find words. Taehyung rose quickly from his seat. His expression was unreadable, neither anger nor fear, but something far more powerful. As Jungkook's words lingered in the air, everyone waited to see how Taehyung would react. And when he finally did, his response shocked everyone. The silence after Jungkook's outburst was deafening. The clamor of fans, the chatter of cafe-goers, even the hum of the espresso machine, all of it seemed to vanish into thin air. For a heartbeat, the world froze, and every pair of eyes locked on the young man whose composure had just cracked in public for the first time. Jungkook stood there, chest heaving, his hands clenched at his sides. He wasn't just angry. He was vulnerable, raw, and exposed in a way fans had never seen. For some, it was shocking. For others, it was heartbreaking. And then, slowly, Taehyung rose from his seat. His movements were calm, deliberate, almost theatrical in their slowness. Unlike the stunned fans and staff who seemed unsure how to react, Taehyung carried himself with a strange aura of certainty. He stepped beside Jungkook, placing a steady hand on his shoulder. "Jungkooka," Taehyung's voice was low, steady, and filled with warmth that contrasted sharply against the storm of emotions swirling in the cafe. The younger man's eyes flickered toward him, searching, almost desperate. He expected anger, maybe even scolding. After all, idols weren't supposed to lash out in public. Their image was supposed to be spotless, untouchable. But instead of reprimand, Jungkook found something else: unwavering support. Taehyung turned toward the window, his eyes scanning the sea of fans pressed against the glass. His expression, usually playful or dreamy, hardened into something rare, serious, commanding, almost fierce. "You heard him," Taehyung said firmly, his deep voice carrying effortlessly even through the barrier of glass. "Respect him. Respect us. We are grateful for your love, but love is not supposed to hurt." Gasps rippled through the crowd outside. Some lowered their phones. Others looked at one another in disbelief. Taehyung, known for his poetic and often gentle words, had just delivered a sharp rebuke that no one could ignore. He continued, his tone softening slightly, but still resolute. "Do you really want to see us break? Do you want the people you admire to suffer because of you? Please, if you truly love Jungkook, then give him space to breathe." The cafe felt like it was holding its breath. Even Jungkook seemed frozen, his anger slowly melting into something else: relief, maybe even gratitude. His shoulders dropped slightly, as if the burden had lessened, if only for a moment. For the first time in years, fans were witnessing a side of Taehyung they had never seen so directly: protective, bold, and unafraid to stand against the very people who adored them. It was shocking, not because it was harsh, but because it was honest. The effect was immediate. A hush fell over the crowd outside. Some fans lowered their cameras. Others even wiped away tears, realizing the depth of what had just been revealed, that behind the glittering stage lights were young men struggling for balance, aching for moments of normalcy. Inside the cafe, Jungkook finally exhaled, his chest loosening. His eyes glistened, and for a fleeting second, it seemed like he might cry. But Taehyung's hand on his shoulder steadied him, grounding him like an anchor in the storm. That moment, the hand, the words, the courage, changed everything. Not just for Jungkook, but for ARMY, for the media, and for the perception of what it meant to be an idol. Taehyung had done the unthinkable. He had sided with honesty over image, humanity over perfection. And in doing so, he had rewritten the narrative in real time. But this was only the beginning. The storm was about to spill far beyond the cafe walls, into headlines, online forums, and international news cycles. The world had just witnessed Jungkook's snap, and Taehyung's shocking reaction ensured it would never be forgotten. The moment Jungkook's voice rang out inside that cafe, it was inevitable. Every second had already been captured on dozens of smartphones. By the time Taehyung's protective words